Hi, friends. Welcome to My Divorce Real Estate. I'm Amber Gifford, and this is my husband and teammate, Scotty Gifford.
And today we have a special guest with us, Patric McCallum, with Drew McCallum Law Firm here in the Houston area.
Woo! Hey, Patric. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm so very, very glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, we brought him in today because we thought everybody says, well, I don't want to pay an attorney and I don't want them to get all my money. And how can I do this? So he is a colleague and friend that we work with here in the Houston area who does what's called a low drama divorce attorney. So if you think that you're not drama, ask your friends first to make sure to see if you are or you're not. And he probably could tell you as well. But so I think we just want to kind of talk about what is this low drama divorce attorney thing and what is your niche and how do you market yourself, and tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So a low drama divorce doesn't mean that there's no drama. It's really just about an attitude, and the attitude is, we want to divorce. We're not really fighting with each other, or we're not fighting a lot. We have some challenges, but we're not fighting. And what we really just need is some information, some guidance, a little bit of management, so we can figure out how we want to do this in a way that benefits both of us going forward. And at the same time, we want to minimize the amount of money that we're using to enrich lawyers. And we want the paperwork to be correct. We want to make sure that the agreements are properly reflected, paperwork is stout, and it all meets family code and the court's going to approve it. And then we just want it to be as seamless and easy as we can. And, that's really kind of in a nutshell what a low drama divorce is. And it's really not about how much drama there is. It's really about the attitude of the couple and how committed they are to trying to get through this process for less money and faster, with agreements that actually benefit them both, and are vastly superior to anything that a court would just impose on somebody if it were to go to trial. So that's in a nutshell what it is.
So they actually do save money, right? I mean, because it's not litigation, which we all know you go to trial and then it costs more money because you're paying attorneys. And do you still have mediation then if they're working with you?
That's a great question, because a lot of people ask me about that. Mediation is not required in an agreed divorce. There are two scenarios where we would want to mediate. One is if there is just some area or some issue that we just can't seem to get resolved, we can enlist the aid of an outside third-party neutral mediator to help resolve that issue. Okay. The second time you'd want it is if you've got somebody who's a bit of a moving target and it's difficult to get them to land and stay on an agreement. We can use mediation and a mediated settlement agreement, which is irrevocable, to basically concrete the deal and say, this is it. There's no changing the mind. We're all in agreement. This is what we're going to do. And use it to help kind of solidify, to stop that moving target from moving around and finally reach an agreement. Because part of being, an agreed divorce is being reliable on your agreement and saying, yes, I've made it. I will honor it. I'm reliable for it. And if we're having a bit of a challenge there, we can use mediation to help solve that issue.
Love it. I have another question. My brain is like, so I think everybody would want to know, have you done litigation? What made you decide to do low drama?
Oh, that's a really great question. Yes, I am what you call a recovering trial lawyer. I was a trial lawyer for almost 25 years. So I've tried a lot of divorce cases, a lot of cases just in general. I've been in front of juries, arbitrators, judges, appellate courts, all my career. And I retired a few years ago from that. And one of the reasons I did was stepping back and looking at divorce, it had become something that it didn't have to be to me. I think, and it really kind of started when I got a call from a financial advisor that I work with, who said, there's this couple in my office, they want a divorce, they don't want lawyers, so they want me to help them, with the financial aspects of it, but I can't do the court stuff. I can't do the documents. Is this something you can help them with? Can you do this on some kind of flat fee basis and make this easy? And I said, sure, I can do that. And from that was really kind of born the idea that this can actually be a business model. This can actually be a successful divorce practice in a market that to me has been growing over the past several years because people's attitudes are changing. Instead, what they're realizing is that the litigation process doesn't work the way they think it does. It doesn't do what they think it does. It doesn't punish the way they think it does. And at the end of the day, what they've realized is all they're doing is enriching lawyers.
Right.
And
exactly.
and then having to ultimately divide what happens to be left after the lawyer's done with it. So that's kind of how it came about. And so I've been doing, agreed and collaborative divorces for probably about the past 5-6 years exclusively. That's the only type of divorce I do because I retired. I don't do the bare knuckle boxing litigation stuff anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. We definitely get calls a lot of people like that just are like, we're in agreement. And I think it is similar, like collaboration, except they're kind of sharing you. And it's, we sometimes take home even some of their issues, or you get emotionally like, oh God, this is terrible. So, it's hard. Every attorney I think we know is like, you take this stuff home. Sometimes you got to learn not to, because it is very intense. And I can only imagine doing like litigation every day. Like, it's like negotiating an inspection every day.
Well, I mean, so when I went, my personal story is too, that I went through the divorce, we only had one attorney and was kind of only representing my ex-wife. So it was like, I felt okay because we had come to the table with a lot of agreements already in the place, right? So that was like, hey, we kind of agreed about the house, we kind of agreed upon the kids, we agreed upon some of the assets. So would that be kind of like a good client for you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can also be in a place where you haven't reached any agreements, but you're just committed to doing it this way. And a lot of the challenges with coming to those agreements is understanding how this stuff works. How do houses and mortgages work? How do retirement accounts and 401ks work? How do vehicles, debts? How do we handle this? And with a little bit of information, then you really kind of open the floodgate to agreement. And people suddenly are like, oh, well, if that's how it works, then, and that makes sense, then I start seeing what it is that I want, what's important to me, and what's important to my current, and then a little bit more on my future financial needs. And I can start putting this together. But it starts with information, it seems.
So do you do modifications then as well, or no?
If they're agreed, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Keyword, everyone, agree. There are a lot of people, surprisingly, that want to do it this way. I mean, I really wish that everyone could, and I know it's not like everything is agreed upon, but like we had a client we sent you, there was a couple kind of, okay, I don't know, let's walk through it. And I think you did a great job walking them through it. So they did meet in the middle eventually, and then it was solidified, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not for everyone. I mean, if you really have somebody who's really not being reasonable, or both sides aren't being reasonable, or they're wanting to misuse the system and abuse the system for punishment or whatever it is, and you really need a judge or an arbitrator or a jury or whatever your pick is for that to do this for you, because there's just no agreement to reach, then litigation is for you. That's what it's there for. The court is there to do for you what you're not able to do yourselves.
Right.
So you use the word punishment twice now. And so what is that? What do you mean when you say like someone comes? So is this usually like when someone's like caught cheating on the other one, and now they want to use the court to punish the other spouse for their bad doings? And is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's when really we're driven, the decisions and the motivations are driven more by emotion than they are, kind of the business side of the brain.
Right.
And that is, I'm hurt and I'm angry and I'm frustrated and I'm scared and I'm anxious and I'm all these things. And I'm going to let those, and I can't get past those. So those are making my decisions. And what I want to do is I'm going to take you to the cleaners, or I'm going to just burn this down to the ground and nobody's going to get anything. The system, I think there's a myth or a misunderstanding really, that people believe that each spouse pays for their own attorney. That's not how it works. The community estate pays for all of the lawyers because we don't have a money tree in the backyard to fund this. All we have is this limited bucket of resources. And so, I will tell people, if you want to know what litigation is, well, You each get trial lawyers. You each pay 4 to 5 figure retainers just to get started.
Yeah.
And so we figure out, well, what's kind of the biggest asset you have? Well, typically that's the house. Well, the net result is the house gets sold and the money goes to the lawyers. And then y'all are going to divide what's left, because that's how the lawyers get paid. And once people realize that, a lot of people say, well, wait, I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose that money. Well, you can't have it both ways. It's one way or the other. And so it's really about kind of understanding the financial decisions, and kind of the business way of looking at it is, if you're going to invest $50,000, $100,000, $250,000 into your divorce, which is what you're doing when you hire trial lawyers and go that path. Well, what is the return on that investment? At the end of the day, if you spend $250,000 to get $150,000, you've lost. That's a negative return on that investment. So it's part of also understanding what the actual real financial impact is of litigation on the community estate and on what everybody's going to wind up with on the other side. And then figuring out, okay, is that the outcome you want? Is that okay with you? Is that desired for you? And if so, that's your choice. If not, you've got to pick another path.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Drama divorce. I think everybody should look that direction. I know not everybody can. Like you said, it's not for everyone, for sure.
It's not for everybody. It's really not.
Well, thank you so much for explaining what your practice is about. I love that you've geared it that direction. I think it's very beneficial to not only yourself, but to other people as well.
For sure.
All right. As always, we're here to bring you real life experiences to all your real estate needs. Like and subscribe. We'll have Patric's info above. Thanks so much.
Thank y'all very, very much.